Growing up in Salt Lake City, Utah in the 80s and 90s in a big Mormon family was anything but a diverse experience. Almost all my friends came from other big Mormon families, and it was rare to have a person from another religion, race, or ethnic background cross my path. In short, my childhood was a very homogeneous experience. It wasn't until I was older and started traveling and studying abroad that I realized the world was so much bigger than one religion and one race. I knew others existed, but it's hard to personalize diversity when everyone around you has a similar belief system and a similar ancestry. My twins were babies the first time I heard about CHIME and its mission statement. Imagine a world where all children are equally valued, a world where all children are seen as a gift. As the mother of a new baby with Down syndrome, that statement immediately made its way into my heart. Those words in the mission statement spoke to my soul as I wondered, where would my girls go to school? Would they be able to go together? Would Mary have to be segregated just because she was different? Well, my girls, Elizabeth and Mary, won the lottery for acceptance to CHIME a few weeks into their first grade year. And suddenly, there they were, sitting in Mrs. Rinnard's class with the other 6-year-olds who were anything but homogenous. It just so happened the first few people I met at CHIME were Jewish. And I remember saying to a Jewish friend, "Is everyone at CHIME Jewish?" My friend laughed for a full minute before catching her breath and informing me that quite the contrary, CHIME was an extremely diverse community. Those first few weeks were eye-opening for me, and for the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to feel like a minority. I would soon discover for myself the many different religions, races, ethnic backgrounds, and cultures represented here in this great community, which deepened my appreciation for that mission statement. I reflected back on my own first grade classroom in Utah, where everyone looked the same, and feeling gratitude and excitement that my children would experience such diversity much earlier than I did. CHIME encompasses much more than acceptance of differences in ability, medical diagnoses, and learning profiles. It represents all the beautiful differences in humanity as well. Christy Cannon, CHIME parent.
I have a close friendship with Daniel. Our friendship is strong, even though Daniel is Mexican while I'm Jewish. Daniel is also about a foot taller than me, but still respects me. It's weird that I'm older than Daniel, and yet he's so much taller than me. Another friend I have at CHIME is Isaac. Isaac is even taller than Daniel. And still respects me. Isaac and I both excel at music, although I don't play anymore. Isaac is a little bit faster than me, though I'm stronger by a bit. We are both smart and in accelerated math and pack food for each other. A third friend is Aiden. Aiden and I are such close friends we consider each other brothers. Aiden is a bit smarter than I am, but I am more athletic. Unlike my other friends, he is slightly shorter than I am. We go to each other's houses as often as allowed and have come to every single one of each other's birthday parties. Gal Ben Harouche, 6th grade, CHIME Charter School.
As a preschool special education teacher, I know I am so lucky to have the general education students as peer models. These peer models become advocates for their friends with special needs. For example, the parent of a 5-year-old little girl, Georgia, had recently passed away, and she was very sad and would start to cry throughout the day. The teachers found that if they would sing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" to her, Georgia would calm down. Within a week, when Georgia would start to cry, all her friends would stop what they were doing and start singing to her. A whole class of peers singing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" to calm their friend down. Beautiful. We have little things like this. They happen every day. 3 to 5-year-old children, so amazing. Accepting, empathetic. Erica Barnatham, CHIME parent and CHIME early education teacher.
husband and I sometimes joke that the greatest thing Chime has taught our son is how to not be an asshole. This is no small feat. Would you talk back to Miss Edding like that? No. Okay, so don't do it to me. Exactly. Would you punch your table partner? Okay, so don't punch your brother. So 11-year-olds are not always paragons of awesome choices. In fact, we often find ourselves cringing when my son makes an obnoxious pronouncement to a group of adults, or, much to his glee, an obnoxious pronouncement to a group of his friends, or when he parades around the house smelling his armpits and declaring in a tough guy voice, smell that. I'm a man now. So, 11. You just kind of smile through clenched teeth and endure it. This past summer, he was fortunate enough to be taken to Universal Studios with a group of his friends by some dear parents with an outrageously high tween tolerance. He came home late, tired and happy, and immediately went to bed. A few minutes later, the parent friend who had taken him called and said, "I want to let you know about something Fionn did today." My heart sank. I hate phone calls that start that way. My palms sweaty and smiling through clenched teeth, I said, "Uh-oh." No, she said, "it's a good thing." "Do you have the right number?" I said. She told me that while they were on the tram tour, a young girl with disabilities was brought in on a wheelchair that had to be secured into the row. The boys from the Chime group were in the same row as the disabled girl, and her mother was in the row in front of them. As they were finishing up the tour, my son turned to the girl and asked if she had a good time. She was either nonverbal or had limited communication skills, but he just sat and had a conversation with her based on her facial cues. My friend said she was struck because it was the same conversational tone as his friends further down the aisle were having with each other. When the mom turned around to check on her daughter in the noisy row of boys and realized her daughter was being included in their conversation, she began to cry. My friend said she even got a little teary-eyed as they got off the tram, but it was lost on my son, who couldn't figure out why she was hugging him. I burst into tears myself when I hung up the phone and told my husband the story. The truth is, we are always proud of our son. When he does well at school or helps out at home, he's a good, responsible kid. But even now, it's hard for me to articulate exactly why that particular story made me so proud. Is it that I know that never in a million years would I have done that when I was 11? Would I do it now? Maybe it's because he never even mentioned the story to us. It was a total non-event in his life. Why wouldn't he strike up a conversation with the person next to him about that awesome tram tour? Whatever the reason, I knew it had nothing to do with us and everything to do with Chime. It's easy to talk the diversity talk, but Chime is teaching our kids to walk that walk. It's just who they are now, every day for the rest of their lives. In the current political climate, we talk about how we can't just pay lip service to ideas, but that we have a responsibility to get out there and change hearts and minds. Thanks to Chime, our kids have been doing that all along. Carmela Riley, Chime parent.
One time in class, we were doing projects based on civil rights. One really stood out to me. It was the LGBT group. I felt so anxious during this topic, especially when the group started talking about how we sometimes keep this feeling away from others because we have the fear of being rejected. I started to get all emotional and cried, but no one judged me and I felt like they would accept me for who I am. Even if I had a different sexuality, I was the same person. I felt a bit more confident to know I was not alone. And this was really important to me. I loved this feeling, and I felt as if I wouldn't have to keep this secret forever and that I would be accepted here. It felt so much better to let it go rather than to run from the truth. I would always deny my own thoughts, thinking it was nothing but a phase. I now realize that there is no need to do this. I know there are people who will welcome me and accept me. I know now that I am not the only one. 6th grader, Chime Charter School.